So if you wanted to, you could have a play with doing this whole scene as a traditional watercolor. One thing that I would suggest is when you're composing this painting here, have a careful think about this barrier line that is cutting off the bottom part of the painting from the top half of the painting. So if this was me painting this as a traditional watercolor, I'd definitely go loosey-goosey in here, like wet in wet for the water, and get a hint of, do a bit of flumping, you know, get some vertical tree trunks, but mostly flumping in there. Of course, you would start off with the sky wash and the water wash for the palest colors and anything on the bridge. But then after you've done that and you've got most of the masses in there, you may want to do some masking on this to make that the feature focal point. But you want to think about stopping this problem in your composition of this barrier here, stopping the viewer from getting into the scene. So if you think of the pathway into the painting, which I talk about a bit in book 2 from the Zen and the Art of Art series, the pathway into the painting, you can think of it like a little person entering the painting from the bottom. That's usually the way that because that's the foreground, is the bottom of the painting. You want to walk into the painting as a little person, and you can swim and you can fly and all that stuff, but if you're walking in and you hit this fence, that's something very difficult to climb over to get into the main part of the painting where the focal point is. It's a very strong barrier, isn't it? So if you wanted the focal point to be the little kotoji here, then you would make that the emphasis, and that's easy to do because it's got strong lights right against strong darks all around it. So that's a very definite focal point, and some of the lines are leading you towards that. But to get across to there, you need to soften down the bridge a fair bit. So you could either cast a pile of shadows on either side at least. So, you know, that's dark vignetting, where you bring the shadows in from the corners. So I would definitely darken down here and darken down here. And then that becomes like an upside down L shape, doesn't it, in your painting? If you darken those. And you can also come and weave your way into the painting, then you're not coming up against the fence where you're running back and forth going, how do I get in? I can't get past this big barrier here, if you imagine that. And so I would be darkening down each side of the bridge, pretending that there's more shadows on the footpath here and here. And can you see, by me covering that, that's already a better, more comfortable painting, because I've cut out part of the barrier to get into the painting by darkening those down so they merge a little bit more with what's above and below. Can you see that by me blocking out the white on each of those? Then you come and circle in around here, and that's what you really want the viewer to do. The other option is you pretend that there's a tree in front here or another bush in front here, and you come in from the sides with some greenery. And maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Shadow might be more truthful about the scene, because every image I've seen of this particular view, there's not actually a tree right there. So that's a choice you can make. But that's the biggest thing. I think the thirds are working okay. That's not a very strong horizontal there. That is a little bit, but you can always cut down the sky a little bit, or you can also crop right in here if you want to. So then you're not, can you see how that's definitely thirdsies now? So you've got a third here and a third here where this focal point is. That's not a very strong horizontal there. It's not really too much to worry about. It's very same in tone. But this is definitely a strong spot here. So if you pull in your crop of your composition from here and here, then it's better. But you definitely still need to hide out some of this barrier, the fence line across here. Is that making sense to anyone? I probably haven't talked to you about barriers to paintings before.